Welcome to the deep dive. Now, if you know Hong Kong at all, you definitely know Taiping Shan the Peak. It's one of the great views globally, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That iconic panorama of Victoria Harbor. It screams global city, energy, prosperity.
It really does. It's the ultimate picture postcard moment. But today we're trying to get behind that postcard, way behind it.
Hmm.
Our mission really is to use the landscape itself, the peak, Magazine Gap, those slopes, as a kind of shortcut, a way into understanding the hidden history packed in there.
Right. Because it's not just dirt and trees.
Exactly. We're talking a century of, intense colonial class divides, some frankly staggering engineering wartime memories, all embedded in the geography. We want you to see the beauty, yes, but also read the physical record.
Precisely. The peak isn't just a high point on a map. It's almost like a monument to paradox.
Yeah.
It's named now Taiping Shan, Mountain of
Right.
Great Peace. Well, that name feels very aspirational. Maybe even a bit ironic when you dig into the history, the conflict, the exclusion that was actually needed to create this privileged space.
Hmm.
So we've pulled out 5 specific stories from the sources. Each one is tied to a real place you can find. A stone, a path, some ruins, like tangible, hidden gems.
Places you can actually visit or at least picture clearly.
Exactly. Spots where Hong Kong's deeper story is literally etched into the granite.
Okay, let's dive right in. Where better to start than with maybe the most famous walk up there? Lugard Road, an engineering feat for sure.
Definitely.
It's named after Sir Frederick Lugard, the 14th governor. Took nearly a decade to build, right? 1913 to 1922. And when it was done, people apparently called it the greatest work of man conquering nature.
Which tells you something about how hard it must have been.
Totally. What made it such a technical nightmare?
Well, it wasn't just paving a road. It was the sheer steepness, especially that second phase of building. The Royal Engineers who designed it had this massive puzzle. How do you put a level path on a cliff face that everyone thought was basically impassable?
Right. How did they do it?
They had used some pretty advanced techniques for the time. 3 main ones, really. A lot of stone cutting. We're talking
Okay.
over 1,850 feet carved out of rock.
Okay.
Then, massive retaining walls built for more than 1,500 feet where the slope was just too unstable.
Still sounds tough, but maybe doable.
But then there's the star of the show. The cantilevered path, the Zandao.
That's the bit, isn't it? Where you walk out and suddenly there's nothing below you, just air and the harbor way down.
That's the one. And structurally, it was incredible. It's, 1,448 feet long, and it's unique. It's Hong Kong's only cantilevered cliff path.
So how did they make it hang there?
They couldn't build on the ground. They had to drill into the sheer granite cliff face
Deep.
and install 87 bridge pillars.
Oh.
And crucially, these pillars use steel-reinforced concrete. That was quite new for Hong Kong back then.
Yeah.
Essential, really, to handle the stress of holding a path basically floating in midair.
Wow. Must have cost a fortune.
It did. HKD, $145,000. A massive amount for the time.
Okay, but here's where it gets, complicated. The historical irony. This amazing road exists primarily to serve the British elite, right? Escaping the heat, enjoying the view.
Mm-hmm. And that was reinforced legally. You had the Peak Reservation Ordinance.
Ah, yes, 1904 to 1947. Tell us about that again.
Basically, it banned Chinese residents from owning homes or building on the peak. The excuse was, hygiene, preventing disease. Pretty flimsy cover for segregation.
It's a codified segregation. But this incredible path, the symbol of colonial modernity.
It was built entirely by the very people being excluded. That's the paradox.
Chinese contractors like Li Hing, the sources mentioned.
Yes, and skilled Chinese laborers,
Mhm.
especially the Teochew stonecutters. They were the ones doing the hard, dangerous work, blasting, carving, creating this elite space they couldn't live in.
The danger must have been immense. Working on sheer cliffs, early 20th century tech.
Oh, absolutely. Industrial accidents were common. The records suggest, a pretty shocking disregard for worker safety. Human life was just valued differently, it seems.
So Lugard Road isn't just impressive engineering.
No. It's also a silent monument to forgotten labor. A labor tragedy, really, built by the hands of the excluded.
So if you're walking the peak, your first hidden gem spot has to be that Lugard Road cantilever path structure.
Definitely. Stand there, feel suspended, and try to picture the sheer human effort. Drilling into rock, installing those 87 pillars.
See it as a tribute to the workers who made that view possible, but were literally barred from the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Okay, that labor built an exclusive space. Which leads us to story number 2. The ultimate symbol of that colonial power, the Governor's Mountain Lodge.
Ah, yes. A classic tale of ambition, and maybe overreach.
It started smaller back in 1867.
Yeah, but Governor Blake, between 1900 and 1902, went all out, a massive rebuild. Grand Scottish villa style. This was meant to be the absolute pinnacle, the ultimate summer retreat from the humidity down below.
The top of the colonial pyramid, physically and socially?
You could say that, but the sheer scale was its downfall.
Yeah.
The cost was enormous, HKD, $97,000 just to build it.
And upkeep must have been a nightmare up there.
Exactly. High maintenance, difficult transport, even with the peak tram. It just wasn't practical. After 1930, no governor actually lived there.
So this grand statement, built to project power for ages, it failed in less than 30 years.
Pretty much. Got damaged in World War II. And then in 1946, they looked at the repair bill and just said, nope, too expensive. Tore the whole thing down.
Astonishing. The main symbol just gone, replaced by Peak Park in the 70s.
Right. Just foundation stones left, really.
Yeah.
But something did survive.
Yeah.
And this is our next hidden gem, the old Governor's Mountain Lodge guard room.
The guard room. Not the fancy villa, but the security post.
Exactly. The small, functional, neoclassical building for the guards. It survived the demolition completely.
Wow, the irony.
Isn't it? The center of power, the grand villa, erased. But the small building, symbolizing control, surveillance, enforcement, that stays. And it even became a declared statutory monument in 1995.
So what does that tell us?
Well, maybe that the symbols of luxury and personal power can be surprisingly fragile. But the systems, the mechanisms of control and segregation, they often have a longer shelf life.
You can still see the foundations today, right? They did some archaeology.
Yeah, 2006 to 2008, they uncovered granite foundation stones, boundary markers, even patterned floor tiles. Walking there, you're literally walking on the ghost of failed grand ambition.
So the hidden gem, the guard room and foundation remains. It forces you to think, doesn't it? Look at the surviving guard post, then the empty space. Grandeur vanishes, but the means of control persists.
A powerful visual.
Okay, let's shift gears. From class and power symbols to military secrets. The peak wasn't just for relaxing. It was strategic ground. Tell us about Pinewood Battery.
Right. Pinewood Battery. Built around 1903-1905. It's all about coastal defense. At 307 meters, it was the highest gun battery in Hong Kong.
Highest. Why so high?
To cover the western approach to Victoria Harbor. It worked in tandem with the Le Yumon battery on the other side, part of the defensive network. Later, in the 1920s, they even converted it for anti-aircraft guns.
So, pretty important, but how did it fare in actual combat? Say, the Battle of Hong Kong in 1941.
That's where the height became a problem. A fatal vulnerability, really.
How so?
It was just too exposed. An easy target for Japanese spotters, and, crucially, for air attacks. It got shelled heavily. It had to be abandoned very early in the battle.
So its strategic advantage became its downfall.
Precisely. The ruins up there are quite dramatic, a real reminder of how fast military tech can change the game.
A powerful sight. Now let's talk about another kind of military history, one hidden in a place name. Magazine Gap. If you just hear Magazine Gap, you probably think of, I don't know, Time Magazine or something.
Right. It sounds quite benign, maybe even literary, to a non-military ear.
But that's not it at all, is it? The name is basically a code.
It absolutely is. Magazine, in this military context, means an ammunition depot, an explosive storehouse.
Okay, so the name points directly to something nearby.
Yes. The Shewson Hill Magazine Complex. These were vital pre-war underground bunkers for storing ammunition.
Underground. How secure are we talking?
Seriously secure. The sources say they were buried over 20 meters deep.
20 meters?
Yeah. And built with concrete walls over a meter thick, designed to be totally hidden from the air and basically explosion-proof. It was top-tier hidden defense architecture for its time.
That is incredible engineering. 20 meters down, meter-thick walls. So what happens to a structure like that, a grade 3 historic building after the war, when you don't need to store ammo there anymore?
Well, this is where it gets fascinating. A brilliant bit of modern repurposing.
Go on.
The inherent strength, the stability. Deep underground, stable temperature, no vibrations, dark. Someone realized that's perfect for something else.
Wine.
Exactly. Luxury private clubs, and most famously, high-end wine cellars. The bunker built to protect explosives now protects expensive Bordeaux.
From munitions to Merlot. Incredible.
It's quite a transformation.
Okay, so 2 hidden gems in this section. First, the Pinewood Battery ruins, Go see the remains. Imagine the chaos of that retreat.
A very atmospheric spot.
And second, check out the magazine Gap Road sign and maybe peek at the Shausen Hill magazine exterior, what you can see of it. It's like a place name archaeology tour. Decode the military history right there on the signpost.
Names hold history.
They certainly do. Right. Our final path takes us back down the slope, focusing on a different kind of journey. The Old Peak Road.
Yes. Before the peak tram.
If Lugard Road was about engineering triumph, this path, it tells a story about sweat, hierarchy, and human transport.
It really does. Old Peak Road was the main way up before 1888. And critically, it was the route used by the Chinese sedan chair bearers.
The men who physically carried the European residents up the mountain.
Yes. So the foreigners could enjoy the cool air, the views, the privilege. Their comfort depended entirely on the exhausting, back-breaking labor of these marginalized workers.
Just imagine that climb, day after day. Steep slopes, Hong Kong humidity, carrying a heavy chair and a person.
It's the most visceral picture of the colonial class structure imaginable. Their feet literally carved the path of that hierarchy.
And along this very path, there's another layer of history, a physical marker of boundaries. You find one of the old Victoria City boundary stones here, right?
That's correct. It's easily missed, but incredibly significant. One of only 6 that still remain.
What did these stones signify exactly?
They marked the official administrative limits of Victoria City back in the 1890s, basically where the formal colonial city ended for things like taxes, policing, administration. Beyond the stone was the new territories, governed differently.
So walking Old Peak Road, you're crossing multiple lines.
You really are. You hit this physical administrative border, the boundary stone marking the edge of Victoria City. And then, as you ascend, you're entering the social exclusion zone, the area defined by the Peak Reservation Ordinance we talked about. So it's a path through a double layer of isolation.
Administrative and social. Wow.
The road itself carries both urban border history and that deep class history, embodied by the sedan chair bearers.
So the final hidden gem, the Old Peak Road boundary stone. Find it. Don't just see it as a lump of granite.
Think of it as starting a boundary stone pilgrimage. Reflect on those forgotten laborers. Their footsteps, in many ways, shape the city's structure more profoundly than any grand government building.
That's a powerful thought. Okay, let's try and pull this together. We started with the peak's beauty, that undeniable view.
That postcard.
But through these 5 stories, the engineering and hidden labor on Lugard Road, the governor's vanished mansion versus the surviving guard room, the military secrets and names and ruins, the vulnerable battery, the human cost etched into Old Peak Road, we see something much richer and, frankly, much more conflicted.
Definitely. And it makes you ask, why does digging into this history, these specific spots, actually matter today? We mentioned the name, Taiping Shan, Mountain of Great Peace.
Which sounds lovely.
It does. But some historical critiques point out the illusion of peace, that the calm, prosperous surface of the modern landscape can easily make us forget the exclusion, the struggle, the conflict that underlies it.
So visiting these hidden gems is a way to break that illusion.
I think so. It's a chance to get past the easy tourist gaze.
Oh.
If you really want to grasp Hong Kong's identity, its resilience, you need both. You need to see the glittering harbor, yes, but also reflect on the history of segregation, hard labor, and wartime stress that literally built the platform for that prosperity.
That connection is key. And it brings me back to that final provocative thought you raised earlier.
The guard room versus the lodge.
Yeah. The governor's magnificent lodge, symbol of ultimate personal power, crumbles to dust, gets erased. But the little guard room, the symbol of regulation, control, the system that survives, gets preserved, even monumentalized. So thinking about the peak's history of segregation and control, does that survival tell us something? That maybe the structures and systems built for control just last longer? That they have a kind of stubborn persistence that outlives the powerful individuals who create them?
It's certainly something to chew on, isn't it? What endures the person or the system they built? Definitely something to ponder next time you're up there looking at the view.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive beneath the beautiful surface of the peak.
Our pleasure.
We really hope you get a chance to seek out some of these spots, the cantilevered path, the guard room ruins, Pinewood Battery, that boundary stone. See Hong Kong with perhaps slightly different eyes.